Hi, this is Bill Prater, and welcome to Business Builder Show, where we feature champions in their respective industries from all over the planet. Now, our mission is to provide you with timely, provocative, and actionable resources that will inspire, promote, and accelerate your quest for business excellence. Today, we're going to talk about don't be a fear-based leader, and Vinod Sankaran will help us do that. Now, Vinod, also known as Vinny, brings over 15 years of experience in operations, financial analysis, strategy, growth, corporate development, strategic planning, and marketing. Putting it all together, he founded MBW, which is also, Vinny, tell me, what's the full name of your company?
Medical Billing Wholesalers.
Medical Billing Wholesalers, MBW. Vinny has helped grow from 3 employees in 2010 to over 500 employees now in multiple locations in the USA and delivery locations in Chennai and Bangalore, supporting numerous medical billing companies, healthcare practices, revenue cycle software providers, and EMR companies. He's got a dual master's in quantitative finance in industrial engineering from Oklahoma State University, and a certificates in AI for business from Wharton and digital marketing from Columbia. You can't settle in on a certain school, Vinny. Yeah, he loves to travel and has been to over 50 countries and loves kickboxing and is an instructor in kickboxing in his spare time. Vinny, it's great to have you here, sir.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. That was really great.
Okay, so who does MBW serve?
So MBW is actually a revenue cycle management company, or in layman's term, it's a medical billing and coding company. So we serve the US healthcare market. That's the in broad, the US healthcare market, and we can break it down. So the US healthcare market, so anybody who needs medical billing and coding. So billing companies in the US who service providers, we are an extension of their company. So billing companies, EMR companies are electronic medical records or electronic health records company. They are a software company, but they need revenue cycles. So we kind of become an extension of their team, and we are their back office. Those doctor practices, small ones, big practices, ambulatory surgery centers, urgent care centers, hospitals, health systems, anything that is on the provider side, not the insurance side, because there are 2 sides to healthcare. So we serve the provider side, anybody who's providing care or doing revenue cycle management, medical billing coding for that side. The other side would be the insurance side, and that's who we usually work with and try to get money from the insurance side. That's pretty much what it is. Many times I tell people MBW is the BMW of medical billing. So that's easy to remember, and that's kind of how we do it. So
Okay. So you mentioned several stakeholders there, and I'm thinking their problems are slightly different. So could you tell us what problems each of those particular constituents have that you solve for them?
Correct. So let's take a couple of these different ones. Let's start with the US billing companies. There are different flavors in billing companies. Most of them are mom and pop companies, and there's an owner, and they're busy with trying to grow their business and maintain the relationship. And our goal is to do everything else. Many times they're bogged down by the day-to-day operations, and they're not able to grow because operations pulls them back. If they were allowed to only focus on growth and maintaining relationship with their clients, then they would all be 10 times the size, 5 times the size. And we've helped a lot of our clients do that over the last 12 years. So we start with 1 or 2 people as an extension, and then they've grown with us. So they have 5, 10 people with them in their offices in the US, and they have like 10, 15, 20 people, sometimes even more with us. And it depends on the owner, the billing company. They can have a split. It could be 50-50, it could be 60-40, it could be 80-20, anything that is comfortable, depends on their client. So that's one, that's the billing company. And that's our bread and butter. That's most of our clients, and that's how we grew. And we provide them a value add, and it helps them a lot. They focus on growth and relationship. We do everything else. So in terms of providing the service and also using technology, things that they can do because of their scale, we can do it because of our scale, right? That's one. The other one is EMR companies, electronic health record companies, which has been pretty popular in the last, let's say, 8 to 10 years. And those are all technology companies. They provide a software solution for the doctors, hospitals, health systems, but they're not a service company. They're a software company, completely different. So we do a value add and we provide them the revenue cycle management that they don't do. So they have the clients, so they sell the software. Now, instead of selling only a software, they can increase their margin by partnering with us so they can sell a whole package. So here's my software, but also we have a partner who does the billing. So it's the whole thing. They have one invoice for their clients. It helps. So that's another opportunity. And we have done really well with that. We have a lot of small EMR companies, big EMR companies, and we've been able to help them also grow and increase their margins. That's one. The next one is I'm going to put all of them as providers, people who are actually providing care to the patient. So solo doctors, bigger practices, hospitals, health system, each one has a different outlook because their overhead structure is different, their patients might be different, and we do a lot of specialties. So based on their needs, we customize a solution for them. So a small doctor practice might need a lot more hand-holding because he has, let's say, a front office staff, maybe an NP, PA, or a medical assistant, and they're busy with their patients. So we take care of all their headache because they're seeing the patients. That's what they're trained for, and they do that very well. Now, our goal is to make sure that they collect the money for the patients they've seen. And insurance and healthcare is really complicated in the US. So they don't have the time or the knowledge to go chase after the money after they've seen the patient. So they see the patient, do the little documentation. We do everything from there, follow up with the insurance companies, fight with them if they have to, appeal, denials, a lot of things that we can talk about, but that's what we do for the doctors. Bigger practices, same thing. But many times when you go to bigger practices, like group practices, 10 doctors, 20, 25, they might have a small billing team already, but not enough to do everything that they need. So we become like an extension of their company, similar to, like a billing company. So that's kind of what we do. Hospitals, we do a lot of different things. Hospitals have their own billing team generally, but they still need help with denial management, coding audits, follow up on claims. So we become their partner. Especially with COVID, this has become really an issue. We've written a lot of articles about labor shortages. So that has also helped a lot in the last, let's say, 2.5 years, helped us grow because even our existing clients have had a lot of need because a lot of their employees left or they're not able to replace them as fast as they want. There's just a big labor shortage. That's been good for our business. And that's kind of, these are our main, this is our target audience.
Okay, beautiful. So, so to find out how you actually go about solving those problems, maybe you could tell us a couple of case studies. One of your core area, particularly billing companies that you augment, and to just kind of walk us through, how do those people find you? How do you go about marketing to them? How do you onboard them? What do you actually do on a day-to-day basis? And what are the results, the value, the benefits of working with you guys?
Good. So we'll come to the benefits. The first thing is we've been in the business for 12 years. When we started, we were doing a lot more face-to-face kind of marketing. We do a lot of things. How do the people find us? How do I tell them what we do, right? So we didn't have a digital marketing before, and we are basically meeting them face to face. So we would do conferences, I would meet them, and then some referrals and go from there. So it took us some time to build the company. From 2019, we've actually revamped our whole website, built a whole digital marketing team, put out a lot of content. We had about 5 pages, 6 pages on our website, and then we have about 250 plus pages in our website now with case studies, white papers, articles, blogs, so on. So that's helped in terms of marketing. Also, in the last 6-8 months, I've been speaking at conferences. So that has helped put our name across. So that's in terms of marketing. The other one is sales. Once we do the marketing, we talk to them. Each one is different. So we understand what they're doing currently, how big they are, what kind of clients they have, what EMR practice management system they use. We're talking about billing companies now. We understand their needs and then we document them and we develop a strategy to help that particular billing company, right? Like I mentioned, we are an extension of our company, and our goal is to increase their efficiency, productivity, and their bottom line, right? And we do it with a few different things. One is using our people who are experienced. The other one is a combination of technology. We can help reduce their cost by over 40% and increase their collections by 20% or more. That's usually how we do. So what we do is first we break it down about what they need. So let's talk about a billing company. And let's say they service 3 different specialties. So we'll take each of their clients. We do a practice analysis to understand where the needs are for that particular practice. We have something called a transition team. Anything that we take, a new client, goes through our transition team. So this transition team consists of subject matter experts from different departments in revenue cycle management, coding, charge entry, payment posting, denial management, AR follow-up. So they document everything. They're the ones who set productivity targets and quality targets. And before handing it over to the operations team, we also have a scope of work, what we are responsible for, what the client is responsible for. We document everything. Many times we do process manuals with screenshots so everybody's on the same page. And we have a standalone quality control team that, looks at everything our people do randomly. And we'll talk a little more about how that is done and the technology we have invested in. And we put everything like a customized package for us. That's the reason we've been able to grow from, like you mentioned, 3 people to right now we're over 550 people currently.
Okay, Vinny, thanks for that. A couple of case studies that was very, very clear. Now, you're in a very large industry and you've got hordes of competition. So tell us how you are different from all that competition out there, Vinny.
Correct. There's definitely competition. There's some really stand-up companies and there are fly-by-the-night companies, and we have to set ourselves different. So our digital marketing kind of helps because we put out a lot of content and we believe that content is king. That gives you authority and they're like, okay, they know what they're talking about. That's one part. The most important part, how we are different, is with all the technology, we're talking in Zoom. I love technology and we have a whole team for that and we'll get to that. But we meet all our clients face-to-face. Big believer in that. It helps you build trust and relationship. And we've done that with our small clients, big clients through the years. So whether they're in California or in New York, Florida, Texas, doesn't make a difference. I fly out and meet them. I have a few people from our team in India also come and meet them. And we build a relationship. Sometimes we do it before we start. It depends on how big the clients are and where they are, or sometimes just after we start. So we have a working relationship for a month or 2. Then we understand more about the client, and then we meet them again. So it's not a one-time meeting. We meet them, throughout the year. Sometimes once or twice a year, sometimes once a year, depends on how big they are. So that has helped us a lot. The other one where we have seen people drop the ball is a communication. We are an extension of their team, right? So even if they had 10 people in their office, it's not going to be perfect. They're going to be ups and downs. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes. So the first thing is to communicate and understand what the expectations are and to hold us accountable. If you do something wrong, we accept, apologize, and we fix it. Make sure it's not repeated again. So communication many times is dropped, and we do it with a bunch of things. So the communication is email. That's more like a daily thing. Then we have weekly calls and monthly calls where we go in and talk about, hey, this is let's say a billing company. These are your practices, let's say 5. And we go over each one and say, okay, this is what we did last month. This is what we are planning to do for this month. Do you have anything that you want us to do different? Because you are talking to the clients on a daily basis. Do you know something we don't know? Are we on the same page? Great. That's a weekly call, monthly call, and daily emails. Apart from that, the face-to-face. So communication and building a relationship are the first 2 things that differentiates us. And we've been doing it from day one, and it's been great. So what happens in many companies is getting clients are tough, but if you don't hold on to them, then you're just, replacing your clients. You don't want to do that, right? You want to get a client and hold them forever till they retire or, they're bought by another company, something. And we've done pretty well over the last 12 years. People usually don't leave us because they're not happy. Sometimes, yes, they retire, somebody else bought them out. It's happened in the past, but usually not for this reason. And that's the reason we think. And open communication. The other one is our experienced staff. All our employees are at least college graduates, plus they get a lot of training. So we have a training and development team in-house that trains them with coding, with revenue cycle management, also with what our clients need. We call it client specific. So we have a monthly tests for them. Plus we have on-the-job training. So if somebody is doing charge entry and they want to do something else, we have tools to train them for certification. So, it would be coding, and we have developed our own certification that we're rolling out later this year with different levels. If you have 1 or 2 years experience, this is your certification, 3 to 4, this one, and so on, leadership. So we do a lot of things like that. Now, the technology that we have, we built some robust technology using robotics, RPA, robotic process automation, to automate a lot of the mundane tasks, which is great because first, our employees don't have to be busy with that. Makes it more efficient, and we can pass on the savings to our clients. So we invested in that. This was the last 2 years. Also, we built a proprietary workflow automation tool because we work with so many clients and we have so many employees. Because of the scale, data doesn't come in one way. Each software is different. Each specialty is different. So we have a workflow automation tool that everything kind of flows in, and we are able to allocate the work to each of our employees and also do quality control and also look at what they're doing in real time. That helps us a lot. We looked around. This is not something that was available in the market, so we had to build something from scratch, and it's been really successful. We're rolling it out in phases. We finished phase 1 and 2, and 3 is being tested right now. The next one will be the client portal, which we are rolling out end of July, early August. So that's been going really well. And the other 2 things I would like to add is I mentioned the standalone quality control team. Many people think of this as overhead. You can say that, but it's very, very important. And the quality control team was picking stuff in random, but now we have the tool doing it for them, so there's no bias. So before, Bill is my friend, so I'm going to go easy on Bill and only pick the easy ones and do an audit. You could do that because humans were doing it. Now the system randomly gives them 10%, 15%. There's no choice, and we audit that. So that standalone quality control team has been great. The transition team that we have is another thing that many companies don't have, because we have one team. Every new client goes through that. So it is standardized. The documentation is done. Everybody's on the same page, and then we move it to the operations team. So it's not like, hey, the operations team, they do not set quality and productivity targets for themselves. We have a separate team doing that. So those things, including with our technology and communication, is kind of what sets us apart.
I love the way you answered that question, how you're different. I think you went through 8 differentiators. That was pretty fantastic. I happen to know your industry pretty well. We can talk about that at a later point in time.
Great.
That was beautiful. I love that very much. So I think, Vinny, our listeners now understand who it is that you serve, how you go about servicing them, the problems that you solve, and then you absolutely separated yourself dramatically from all the competition out there in a spectacular way. I can see why you're 12 years old on your way to a 120-year-old business one day. So what we'd like to do now is kind of change up a little bit, put on your professor's hat, pretend like we're in business school. We got a bunch of budding business owners out here, and they want to know how you go about building a business like yours so rapidly in such a short period of time. So maybe if you'd go back, tell us about how the idea came in to found the business, who your initial 3 employees were, and then how you manage the company today and whatever. And as you go through kind of telling us the story of the company, with your permission, I'll jump in and ask a couple of clarifying questions.
Absolutely. Great. So yes, I grew up in India. That's where I went to school. And US was always in the back of my mind, even when I was in high school. So I finished my engineering in India and came here to do my master's in Oklahoma State, as you mentioned. People ask me why Oklahoma State, straight from India to Oklahoma State. They kind of paid for my education. So that's pretty much the reason, So that's what I tell people, and people just give me the thumbs up, just like you did. So that was the main reason. So after I finished my master's in engineering and finance, Sprint kind of picked me up from the campus, Sprint, the cell phone company. So I was in Kansas for a couple of years, and that was a big corporation. And when I went there, you get kind of lost. And I was like, okay, corporate life is not for me. That's how it worked. I had great managers and colleagues, but, there was just too much bureaucracy, and anything needed to be done. There were 10 levels that you had to get approval, you had to explain, and it was just not worth it. And I was maybe 24, 25 that time. I'm like, okay, this is great. Put it on a resume. Let's figure it out. So I was moving to New York because my girlfriend that time, now my wife, was there. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to make her move to Kansas. Let me go to New York. So we went there. And I met a gentleman who's actually an attorney. He's still my mentor today. We do business together. And we decided to do something in India. So before healthcare, we were always in healthcare, but before medical billing, we were actually training nurses and placing them all over the world. And medical billing kind of just happened. So I was in Brooklyn, and I met a couple of people who had a medical billing business. I didn't know anything about the business. And they were working with some companies in India that was doing that. So revenue cycle management in India is almost 25 years old. Been doing it from 98. So it's a really mature industry. So in 2009, let's say, pretty right about the recession time, we had this idea. I went to India and to figure out what to do, because I didn't know anything about medical billing. So the first thing I did is, let me pick some good people who know the industry and I understand from them. So the first 3 employees that you said were people who were from the industry. They know revenue cycle, but they didn't know sales. They knew how to do the work. That's great. And I don't know anything about revenue cycles. So I hired them. And for many months, we paid them even though we didn't have business. It was great. We had to build a team because you can't do anything without a team. So we did that. Then I went to conferences, HVMA. I learned a lot from meeting other people. And it was tough to get the first clients because I didn't have, there's no references. I can't give them references. You're my first client. So I started with a couple of billing companies, one in New York, one in Buffalo, actually both New York State. And we started building from there. We told them we're kind of new, but the people we have knowledge, 5 years, 7 years, let's build a team. And they were ready to invest. And we went there, we got the people trained. They came to India, sat with our team and trained them. So it helped a lot. So the next thing was, okay, now we understand we have a couple of clients. What do we do? So we made a strategy. And the main thing is with companies is many times you're not sure about the vision, and it changes, and that's fine. What you do day 1 and what you do in year 10 is not going to be the same, because a lot of things change. You have a lot of assumptions, a business plan, great. 2 years later, everything changes. That's fine, as long as you convey that to your team, that's good. So we had constant communication with the team, to be transparent. At one time, I used to do 6 to 8 trips to India just to be face-to-face with the team. I told you I'm a big believer in face-to-face. I still do that. Maybe not 8, I'm doing more like 4 or 5 a year. So we go and we share it with the team and say, okay, this is what we want to do. This is where we want to go. This is our target audience. And it changed, right? We were doing smaller billing companies. Then it was bigger billing companies, EMR came layers, things like that. So many times what happens is people don't share their vision with their team and they're not transparent. There is going to be crisis. There's going to be pushback from clients. Every day is not going to be rosy. When you're the owner of a company, there is crisis every day. The first thing is, don't get emotional. Don't start blaming your team, because I've seen that happen many times. It doesn't help you. You're the person who hired these people. If you shout at them, that means you're just shouting at yourself. It doesn't help. It doesn't do. So that's the first thing. Calm down. Understand the issue. It could be that my team made the mistake. That's fine. But document it. Apologize. Make sure it doesn't happen again. Have a dialogue with the team and tell them, hey, this is not acceptable. This is what we need to have. That's why we have quality control, so on. Things that we built as we grew. Day 1, we didn't have a quality control team. Our goal was just to get business and deliver the work. So a lot of things changed over the years, and the industry also changed. Affordable Care Act or Obamacare came. That was a big change. EMRs were a big change. There's a lot of things that we used to do 10, 12 years ago were more in the data entry kind of stuff. Now we're doing more high-level stuff, analytical thinking and critical thinking stuff. Very different kind of employees. So we had to pivot and do that. And investment in technology, digital marketing. So a lot of things like that kind of change. So also another thing I would add when you start companies is do a proof of concept, then invest your money. We have done the old version. We invested a lot of money. Then we figured out it was not a good business, great way to lose money really fast. So I would advise test it, see what works, then invest and scale. And that is usually what works. And have patience. Not every day is good. And I think you should enjoy what you do. I love talking to people, as you can tell.
Yes, indeed. So how is your company managed? Do you have physical offices in India? Are they remote? Do you have management team? So walk through your management
Yes,
process.
absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of things we do, or everything we do, is based on HIPAA. So there's a lot of data security that we need. For that reason, we do some remote work, but that's only for the leadership team. And I'll come to that. So before COVID, we didn't do remote work at all, except for the leadership team. We still have most of our people in the office. Our offices in Chennai is the biggest office that can seat about, let's say, 500 plus people in one shift. And I told you we have about 560 right now, but we have two shifts. They work morning and night. The people who are working at night are the ones who are calling insurance companies. The people in the day are doing coding, charge entry, so on. So
Okay.
we do have a management team, and most of them are in the office. Same with Bangalore. Now we built the whole leadership team. So I'm the CEO. There's a COO who's been with me from day one. He's also a partner in the business. He's been with me since 2010, so about 12 years. And the reason he's there and he's able to handle a lot of things on the ground in India is the reason I've been able to sit in the US and talk to clients, because I was in India for a few years just to set everything up, get the protocols in, hand it over to somebody who can manage it. Only then I can be here as the face of the company. I can be in two places. I've tried, it doesn't work. So that's one. So after that, we started building the leadership team. So we have AVP for operations. We have leaders for training and development. We have IT managers, HR, recruiting, marketing. Then we have IT. We have two of them. One is the hardware side to make sure that all the computers and the connections with our clients work. The other one is the software development team that talks about the robotic process automation, the workflow automation tool that we built, client reports, business analytics, things like that. So two different IT teams. Yeah, and then obviously a finance team. So we've built it slowly, and we've gotten people from other industries, some from our same industry. But if it's finance and business intelligence, as long as they understand numbers, they've come in from different industries. And we've slowly built a team. So, and we have a beautiful office, 25,000 square feet, a lot of pictures in our website with videos. So that's been really good. So the leadership team, most of them have laptops and they are able to go and work remotely. So if they're stuck someday, they still need to log in. So then we allow. For the others, it's all in the office. So our production floor, as we call it, the people who deal with PHI, protected health information or patient health information, they are in the office. So we have, we used to have biometrics to enter the office. Now we have facial recognition after COVID. We don't want everybody touching the screen. So we have 24-hour security, CCTVs, no phones allowed in the production floor. So we have things, they keep their cell phones, they check it in the lockers before they go inside. Things that we can do to protect the data when they're in the office. I can't do that in the US, and I can't do that when they're remote. So a lot of things we can do in terms of data security, because some of our clients are hospitals and they expect things like that. The other thing we have is cybersecurity insurance. That is not very common in the industry, but it's very recommended. We've had it for over 5 years now. It's not easy to get those days, but we had to fill in a whole risk analysis in what you have done for data security, things like that. You got to go in detail, and then you get the so a lot of things we have done for that.
So tell us about one of your big mistakes over the last decade or so, and what were your lessons you learned from that mistake?
Let me think. There have definitely been a bunch of mistakes everybody's made. So let me take two of them. One is the digital marketing part. We wanted to invest, but we couldn't find the right people. And I think it's very, very important to do that, to get your name across. And we tried, but maybe we didn't give it the priority it deserved. But then in 2019, we did, and it changed our company drastically. We were in a couple of hundred people, over 500 happened. See, COVID helped a lot, don't get me wrong, but a few things that we did before COVID helped us accelerate. Had we not done that, COVID would not have helped us so much, because we were still not, because don't forget, the way we were getting clients were meeting people face to face. With COVID 2 years, we hardly had any conferences, so I couldn't have done that. So how would I, luckily we did that before COVID, and that helped us a lot. So I would have done it, had I known this before, I would have done it a few years before. That's in terms of digital marketing. The other one will be technology. We've always wanted to do technology. It's kind of the same reasons, when, like I told you about the billing companies, right? When you're dragged into the day-to-day, you're talking to clients, you are not able to allocate time for things that can wait. And then what happens is they kept getting wait. So that's kind of what happened with technology too. This is another thing I would have done a few years earlier, might have helped us, jump, and instead of being 500 employees, maybe we would have been 2,000 or 1,500. So these are the two things I would, like I mentioned, get the proof of concept done. Once you know your system works, put in, robust quality control things that, things don't slip, because you don't want to lose the clients you've signed up. Communication is key. That we've always done. So that part we have done well. But in terms of technology and digital marketing, had I known before, we would have done it a little earlier. These are, I would say, call it mistakes, but yeah, it is. Time is, I can't get back time, unfortunately.
No, you can't. Thanks for sharing those with us. So what's holding you back right now, Vinny?
Holding us back. So one thing is managing growth. So what happened in the last few months is with COVID and Omicron, US got waves in a different time, India got waves in a different time, and both of us affect us. When US gets waves, our clients get affected because they can't see as many patients, so revenue goes down, so indirectly it goes down. So that's one problem. The other problem is when India kind of had a lockdown and shutdown, the productivity to do 100% is really tough. We had to use more people to do the same work. And so what happened is, to manage growth is a very, very important thing. I want to keep selling 10 clients a day if I can. Great. Can we manage it? That's the main thing. So managing growth has been the main thing right now. How fast do we sell here? And how fast can they actually hire the required resources, experience, deploy them so our clients see the value? That's been a challenge. We've it goes in curves. Sometimes we are behind the curve, which is not a good, it's a problem. That means you've sold more business than you can take on. It's still a problem, because then the clients are like, hey, you told me so many things. And especially when you start with a new client, and if you can't meet the expectation the first 3 months, that's the worst thing you can do, right? So that's the balance I've been trying to do, meaning investment needed as you grow, sales, marketing, how fast we hire and deploy the people so that we can maintain the productivity quality without losing existing clients or our new clients. So that's kind of where it's an everyday thing, and we try to make sure that it's a tightrope.
So we've got a variety of people listening to us, potential management team for you, prospects, customers, etc. So how would our listeners contact you, Vinny?
Best one is email or LinkedIn. If you go to my LinkedIn, actually, it has all stuff. So it is just LinkedIn /Vinod Sankaran, and you should be able to find me. I'll send you a link, Bill, so you can share it with that. Email is just Vinod, VINOD, @medicalbillingwholesalers.com. It comes straight to me. I don't have an assistant to go through. It comes straight to me. I like to manage it myself.
Yes, I've got that feel. I know that you love to be right face to face with the customers, team, etc. That's beautiful. So, Vinny, what's one question I should have asked you and I didn't? And what's the answer to that unasked question?
Unasked question. Why do people do this, or what is the most important thing? Something like that. So I see a lot of people want to build a business because it's let's call it's sexy, it's the new thing to do. I think the reason you should do it is if it is challenging and you enjoy doing it. That's the most important thing. But many times when I see people doing that, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they spend a lot of time doing it, which is great, and it is needed. I know I've had 15-hour days and 18 hours, but they lose they lose on their health. They don't give time for work-life balance. That doesn't mean you should not work 10 hours, 12 hours. That's not what I'm saying. But you should segregate some time for yourself. So I think we are in healthcare, and we see the bills of people. And once you're sick, it's very, very tough. it just goes worse from there. Very tough to pull back. Some people have done it. So the first thing I would say is focus on your health. And that means more physical and mental. So if you can think clearly and focus, and if you're healthy and you can move around, meet people, then 90% of your problems are solved. So many times people don't focus on that. I think that's very, very important. Like I told you, I love to travel. That frees up my mind, and that's great. COVID has not been very helpful with that, but things are better, so I'm not complaining. And then kickboxing is good. I go running, I jog. So whatever makes people happy, they should do. It could be playing racquetball, tennis, whatever. Many times people lose track of what is important. Building a company is great. Trust me, I love it. I don't think I'll do anything else. Maybe after this we sell it, we do another company. That's great. But if you lose track of what is important, your health, and like I said, you can get back time. Those two things many people, seem to forget.
Yes. Thanks for sharing that. Beautiful. Thanks, Vinny, very much. Now, everybody, in closing, let's focus on this single fact, and that is our businesses don't become extraordinary in a single moment. Instead, they get there as a result of the owner first learning and then applying a proven combination of having the right mindset, of a dedication to a system of management, and number three, leveraging high performance teams. So thanks for listening. Vinny, thanks for sharing your fantastic stories with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure, Bill. Thank you.